Hey, my name is Damon Ross, and I haven't made $1 million deal yet.
All right, so our icebreaker question is a hot take you have on the film industry related, unless you got something real hot, general life, but industry related hot take.
Oh, that one is difficult.
And maybe Sam, if you got one burning, if you want to throw one out there. I have one ready
okay.
too.
Why don't you marinate? I'm gonna marinate in this.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of writing related, and this kind of ties into what we talked about with Haley, our last guest, but I don't think there's bad feedback. Doesn't exist.
Really? So
Yeah.
even what if like someone's just objectively just mean, no reason, tearing apart? Do you still feel like?
Yeah, because then I could be like, and this is regarding to like writing something or like a movie that you made a short or whatever.
Right.
I feel like then, obviously they could just be a mean person maybe, but also like, why is this setting this person off,
All right.
Like, and I'm not saying any advice or anything somebody gives you is necessarily correct, but it's like, there's something to be looked at, could there be something in my script that's like triggering in some way, and that the person reacting that way is kind of a tell for that.
Or it could be, I guess, like a good thing too. It's like if you want someone to feel something so passionately, you already know. Yeah,
if you want it to be like controversial or a little pokey, then that's also information. But I think from my own experience, just listening to everyone is a good thing. I mean, then taking that with a grain of salt. But that's not really a hot take. It's just something that I've learned. But
Interesting. Especially since, like, I guess who you're writing for is like the general public, and so if the general people have feelings, then yeah.
I mean, whatever they say is going to be not as bad as the YouTube comment you're going to get. So
Okay, I thought of one.
Okay.
No, actually, it's more of an opinion. I guess that's what it is, a hot take.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't get the appeal of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oof, I like that.
I just don't get it. Maybe I get it in Titanic, and like I haven't admittedly watched What's Eating Gilbert Grape. So like and I feel like those are like two big ones in his youth where like it really catapulted him to the top. And I've like seen some of Titanic. I get it. I get the appeal. I saw Romeo and Juliet. I know, like teen boy, but just like even in the later years, I was like, okay, I've seen Wolf of Wall Street. I've seen like other things. I just like Great Gatsby. Okay, well, I guess I haven't seen The Revenant, so I haven't seen his Oscar award-winning performance. But like when he got that Oscar, it was like, this is a long time coming. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I just like, I guess.
What do you think his best role is that you've seen him in?
I love him in Catch You Me If You Can.
Yeah, that's a good time.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
I guess it would have to be Romeo and Juliet just because it's the only one no. Wolf of Wall Street, he's absolutely batshit bananas in, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I just was like, I don't know. When I think of him, like, yes, obviously he's like movie star, but in my brain, it's like, okay, who are the other comps to him in this like situation? And to me, that's like a Brad Pitt.
Oh.
That's to me is like a Matt Damon type.
Hey.
And I'd much prefer them than Leonardo DiCaprio any day. Also, I really think that like his outside like I don't know. It just gives me a little ick.
Yeah.
It just gives me ick. I just like don't. It's like he's an aging man like every other, and I just don't understand why we still see him as like a god, which I like feel like comparatively to other people like him. He's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
It's a great hot take.
I guess, yeah.
As a Leo appreciator, I think it is a good take.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, he is kind of similar in most of his movies.
Yeah, nothing about him to me is like, oh, yes, this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like, let me tell you about Leo. Like, I am a big fan. Like, nothing has ever been like done that for me.
Yeah.
I guess.
I feel like The Wolf of Wall Street is the only one of his where I'm like, oh yeah, great performance. In The Revenant, which is one of my favorite movies, he's still just kind of like not dying. He's not like saying anything that cool. He's just kind of not dying for an hour and a half.
I mean, We haven't even talked about Inception though. Like,
right, yeah. I have seen Inception. Okay, but I think
wait. As a Leo appreciator, you have thoughts on Inception?
I mean, it's a cool movie and everything, but I think he's just kind of.
I think he's just
Leo
there sometimes.
Again, you know?
Yeah, like I feel like of that cast, I don't think of him the most. I think
of Tom for that one.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I guess I think of Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, or anyone really.
Yeah.
I forgot he was in that movie.
Elliot Page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. I get why people may. I just don't get it. I don't know.
Wow. Interesting hot take.
Yeah.
Okay. So my hot take is I don't think that algorithms should control creative decisions.
Okay.
Okay.
And explain.
I just feel that there's so many examples of studios or entities just like being like, oh, well, our algorithm says that like these people want to watch this type of show. And so like, we'll do that instead of like letting the creative people behind the show like have their free will and being able to bring something to fruition. I feel like so many of the art, like the greatest pieces of art in general are created when like creative people just do something despite what other people expect or what the masses say that they want or whatever. I think it's just important for a director to be able to be a director and like envision whatever they want rather than like, hey, like Mr. Studio Man said, we have to make this like Game of Thrones, so that's what the people want. So yeah.
Do you think that's more applied in? I feel like that's more applied in TV and film. Do you feel like you know what I mean? I guess like because also like Nielsen ratings. I feel like that's like basically like the analog version of algorithms on like things like that nowadays. Or I guess it's the same. No.
I'm gonna have to Google Nielsen ratings when I get home.
I guess it's also a little bit of a chicken and the egg question.
Yeah.
Like, does the trend come from the unexpected random piece of art, or does it come from what the public want? I feel like the studios always pretend like it comes from what the public want, and then the movies respond. But I feel like it, like you say, it's usually more of like somebody brings out a cool new thing that nobody thought everybody was gonna be crazy about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like it'd be two different takes, I guess, for TV versus film.
Yeah.
I feel like the reception or like the use of those things are more helpful in TV than film. Like film, I think it's like out of left field is like where we find some of our like true gems as of like late. I feel like Everything Everywhere. I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
But versus like TV, I feel like algorithms and like ratings like that like definitely help inform even the best of our shows. Like,
well, ratings definitely different from algorithms.
Okay,
though.
And like
because I feel like an algorithm is just like I feel like ratings are like a true response, whereas an algorithm is just looking at like the likelihood or potential and just like making something happen automatically, versus like you receiving a rating is a response to what you've already done.
But what is like, okay, so like in terms of like calculating an algorithm, what goes into that?
I don't know. Ask the studio.
But like that's what I'm curious about.
Ask the technology
because
people.
Because
Damon
wouldn't that
here
just
from
be
software talking to us about algorithms?
But wouldn't that just come from like previous ratings? Like algorithms are just like just on previous data, like chicken and the egg. I just feel like
on data, not on ratings. So it
but
can be
data can be ratings or previous ratings.
Like young 20-something hot shot in Los Angeles, like her demographic is going to lean more towards this. So we should sell them this versus.
But how do you know that? From previous
data.
Ratings. Yeah, but data has to be collected somewhere.
All right, I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves. This is meat and potatoes for later on. So we are Indie Not Films, and this is Haven't Made It Yet, a podcast. I'm Yannick, and I'm here with
Sam and
Damon,
and we're going to be talking about
Damon's life a little bit. He's actually, unlike a lot of our other guests who are more so like, I would say like on-set people or like a more traditional, what you would think of, I guess, as like a career in the entertainment business. Like why we wanted Damon on is because Damon actually works for a management company. I met Damon at the management company that I used to be at. Damon's now at a new management company.
Hey.
Well, I've said this on the pod. I guess no, we haven't. Never mind. We'll scrap that. Anyways,
We talked, on your episode, we talked about management a little bit, but
I guess,
it's
but
kind
like
of-
what companies? I guess do you want
Oh,
to admit?
I mean,
that?
it's up to you guys. I think it's
I mean, we went from one to another.
Yeah, we went. Okay, anyways, we went from one management company to another management company. Well, I didn't go. Damon went to a different management
Nobody
company.
came with me.
I left. I quickly took a left exit. But he works in business development.
Dun dun dun.
I know. So I would love to talk more about that because I feel like it's just not an avenue in the entertainment industry we really talk about, especially when it comes to representation. Like before Damon took this job, I really didn't think or know that this department really existed. I just thought
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I just thought I kind of went into like television, like literary talent, film, TV, like talent, literary, and that's kind of, and then I guess socials live somewhere in between, like, which is where I kind of met you at the old management company. You worked for our one non-scripted executive over there.
She's a powerhouse.
She really is. She's the best. But yeah.
I would love to know how you ended up in this area. I'm sure this was not something you woke up one day wanting to specifically do. I'm sure this is something that kind of found you or you found it. But maybe before we get into your origin story, I know. Can you just define for us what your job currently is?
I wish I could.
Okay, very telling.
Or give us like a log line, like just a little brief.
It doesn't have to sound elegant, just like what is it you do?
I'd like to say that, and I've been thinking about like what it is that we do. But I feel like at its core, it's just like a piece of what management is in terms of like you are creating, developing, expanding, maintaining, sustaining a business. And whether that's like a business for a client or the business that you currently work on through like strategy and innovation, like just figuring out what the best paths and avenues are for your success. So if you want to do something or launch something or expand something, like how do we do that? And I feel like that's like the business development. If you wanted to make espresso cups for the masses because that's like your dream, then let's make you a freaking like espresso company, partner you up with Nestle, package that shit up, and boom.
So you do that for film specifically. That's what.
Not for film specifically, but I love the entertainment industry. So because I feel like business development is more routinely seen as like in a sales capacity, definitely like advertising, marketing, and such. Basically, you can have business development for like any type of company. I just like to be related to entertainment because that's where I find the fun, the creativity, the lifestyle, and it was my first love. So I kind of tie it into like a lot of like talent, on screen and off screen talent, and just anybody who's making a big splash in media or the zeitgeist in general, because I feel like that's the best way to make change.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I guess, okay, so you said entertainment, first love, film industry, first love.
Yeah.
Let's just go back a little bit now that we kind of know what you're up to currently. So where did you find yourself in the into LA? Where did you grow up? Did you go to school for film? Did you?
No, I did not. How I got, like, I was born in LA. And so I think that kind of, exposed me a little bit to it. I remember once I had a middle school teacher who was like, if you wanted to just be in a commercial, drive down to Burbank, it'll be 2 seconds and you'll be an extra. And I was like, oh my God, that's how easy it is. Like entertainment, it's right there. But I think more of just like being in the city and then like thinking about how I felt watching my favorite shows, my favorite movies, and how I got to connect through characters through that. Like I felt like I wasn't alone so many times because it was a character going through an issue that I could relate to, or somebody having struggles that I really wanted them to get through and I was rooting for them. And so in a way, I had friends and I had a second family through entertainment. And I knew that no matter what I wanted to do in my life, it was going to pertain to that. I knew I wanted to have as much fun doing it. And I think around 17 was when I really said, like, what are you going to do?
So how did you answer that? I guess now that you're 17, about to like go to college. So like, what was the push forward from that?
Well, knowing like I wanted to be in entertainment, I Googled best job security and entertainment.
And nothing came up.
Yeah, zero search.
Yeah, because I think at one point I told myself I wanted to be an actor. I was a musical theater kid, and like I was like always wanting to be around these spaces. But then I was like much better at like the A to B stuff, and also I don't like to be told no, and I feel like that's like a lot of what being on that side of the industry is like, is just being told no, no, no until you get that yes. And I would punch somebody if I got told no like 5 times a day. Like that would just like hurt. So I was like, how about I make the decisions and figure out how to turn those no's into yes. And so when I found out like agents and managers had like, on average, it was like $110,000 a year that they were making. And I was like, that's so much money. And I think that's what I was like, okay, great. I want to be an agent or a manager. I want to like help people get places and I want to help them make money. And by helping them make money, I'll make money. And also when I was 17, my friend who was a musician, she was making money as a musician just in Texas. And I was just like, wow, you're actually like out here doing this, making money, playing shows, all of this. And it was a slow day at Starbucks. And she was like, I just need so much help. And I was like, can I help you? Can I help you? Can I like do things for you? And that quick at first it was like, let's like make flyers and like make all of this stuff. And then it was like, well, how do we set up your calendar? And then it was like, well, what are your next shows? Like, we're setting up sound. And it's like, so what are you doing after this? And eventually we ended up booking a like 12 city roundabout tour in Texas with Starbucks, having her perform in each of those places. And
in the Starbucks stores,
yeah,
you guys would set up and she'd perform.
Damon, this is like a client.
Yeah.
Your first client. Wait, how old were you?
Yeah.
I was 17.
Oh my God. Okay. First manager.
A natural.
I know. Okay. How did you deal broker that as a 17-year-old?
With Starbucks.
Yeah.
Well, I was working at Starbucks at the time too, because like that's where she would come work. I was like, you come work, I'll give you the drinks. Like it'll be great. Mm-hmm. And so like it was, and Starbucks was actually like my pathway to the entertainment industry in general. I didn't know that my friend at the time would be like a catalyst to like me, I guess, making a first deal or whatever. Like I did all of that for free. I didn't make a penny, which is like fine. I was 17 for the exposure. But it was my pathway in that like I knew that I needed to be in LA, and to be in LA I needed a job because I wasn't going to be able to just like live freely. And I figured the fastest way to get a job in a city that you don't live in is to work at a national corporation. And I worked really hard at that Starbucks. Shout out North Loop 336. Missy,
please
what
give
up?
us free coffee, Missy.
We love you, Missy.
And I remember like there were conversations about like what I wanted to do moving forward, like if I wanted to like become like a shift supervisor or whatever. And I was like, I want to work in Beverly Hills. And she was like, Beverly Hills. And I was like, yes, all the talent agencies and management companies are located in Beverly Hills. So I will work here and we can work on transferring me to one of those stores and I'll stay here until there's an opening. And
you just made demands.
I know, but that's so resourceful. I mean, you're just asking for relocation. That's not out of pocket.
Yeah. When I realized like people were doing that all the time, like I'll go support this store, I'll go support that store. I was like, so can I go support that store, like over there? And once they like had an opening, I was ready to go.
Oh.
That's smart too, because all those business or all those industry people are probably getting their Starbucks coffees. Also, it's like you're getting soft exposure with like those people.
That was the idea of like I'll be at Starbucks and I can meet everybody who needs. Ariana Grande is gonna come in and like give me my big break because she needs a freaking latte. But then I realized I'm just serving people who are shopping on Rodeo Drive, and it wasn't as like it didn't meet the expectations that I had, but it wasn't too far off. And so I guess about a year and a half after that, like kind of just getting myself stable in the city and like being here, I like adjusted and I was like, I need to go to a place that's like letting me do a little bit more. Like I need more time because I did like you have 30 minutes to close a store. That's like awful. And I found another coffee shop, Blue Bottle. Shout out Blue Bottle. We love you. South Bev.
Sponsored
132
episode
South Beverly
today.
Drive.
The sweet latte, it's so good. Number one.
It is good.
Get a Nola. But yeah, and through Blue Bottle, I found more agency because they focus more on like, treat the customer like well and so many other things that I totally did not remember from the handbook. But it was...
They're bougier.
Bougier, yes.
Yeah.
And people understand you're coming in for a wait. So I would go slow. I would hold the drinks, figure out who were the agents, assistants, and the agents and managers and executives that were coming in. And after about a good like year of like scouting, I started like adjusting my schedule. I would be like, hey, can I have this morning shift where I get off at 12:30 because industry lunch hour is 1.
Oh my God. This
Oh,
is
wow. So you really like
methodical.
planning. Yeah.
I like it.
So you worked at Blue Bottle. You're getting off at industry lunch hour. Are you schmoozing it up?
I'm schmoozing it up. Everybody who came in there, I like found out like, were you in digital? Were you in talent? What is the difference between talent and lit? All of the things that I wanted to know to be like prepped for being in the industry because I didn't know anybody. Like my family is not related to anybody in the industry. I don't have like those types of connections to just like make things happen. So I knew that like my personality was going to have to be the number one thing. And once I figured that out, I started like, I just started asking for favors at the right time, dressed really nicely, like timed perfectly, knowing that like, Chris Rice is coming in at 8:45 and you should be there looking great. So that way.
Wait, I got so many questions.
Yeah.
Love the strategy of this. But okay, so you at lunch hour you wanted to not be working so you could actually be mingling with them in the coffee shop?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the best. Or have my lunch hour start, like my work lunch hour start at the same time. So that way I would have that time to be out and about.
And you would already kind of know these people enough so it wouldn't be awkward if you were like, hey, by the way, they're like, oh, hey, I know you, and you're on lunch. Let's just chat for a second.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I get coffee for free for anybody that's in my group.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So what assistant making, whatever an hour isn't going to want a free coffee for themselves
of course.
For their boss. And there would be times where I would, once I got close to them, I would start taking croissants and pastries and stuff over to the offices. So I'd be like, WME, like all the places and just be like, it's from the guy at Blue Bottle. And so they would just kind of know. And I was like, that'll get them talking internally. Like, who brought croissants? Who brought this? Like, me.
Did you ever meet anyone after like the fact that remembered you as like the Blue Bottle guy, like in the industry?
In the industry?
Yeah, like when you finally crossed back over into like this side versus working at Blue Bottle. Did people remember you being like, oh my God, like...
So there's one manager who was at the company that I'm currently at, who I knew both during those times. I used to give him and his friend free coffee, and we ended up working at the same place for a few months, like very recently. And it was like doing that on my own accord and like getting there and seeing him. It was a very like full circle moment.
Oh, that's great. That's so awesome.
Very creative.
Yeah, I would say that's like, maybe one of the most creative ways I think about like networking. I would have never thought to do any of that.
Yeah.
I needed if cigarettes can be currency in jail, coffee can be currency
in the industry, that or Diet Coke.
Oh my God. Yeah. Diet Coke.
I mean, that's how we enticed you to get over here. Damon literally asked me for Diet Coke. He was like, I'll do this, but I need 2 Diet Cokes.
I asked for 3. We settled on 2.
Yeah, we said I negotiated on our behalf for 2.
You're so like quiet and unassuming, but there's like gears turning.
Oh,
like, this is
Damon
incredible.
I mean, you're not into zodiac signs like I am, but if you are into that at all, Damon is a fire sign through and through, like an Aries sun. Isn't it like double Aries, something in a Sag?
I'm an Aries sun, a Leo rising,
Oh my God.
a Sag moon,
Actually, it's all three.
and an Aries Mercury.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but
But basically
Nice.
what you were saying, it's just like there are things working in there.
some
There's, like,
conniving.
also, sometimes not just doing. I think that's
Sometimes
also
just
part of
Fortnite, but
yeah.
you know,
But I think that's the gusto of it, like very attuned to your personality. You just like go for it. I don't think you like. I feel like I get in my own way, like that. All of that you've just done, I would have stopped myself probably at the second step. Like that's just a kudos to your drive to continue and like think ahead like that. Like I would never have just full force gone into like that mindset.
I mean, I don't know if I could do it again. Like I'm
But
pretty
you don't
tired
need to.
now. I'm not gonna lie.
But you don't need to. That's the point. You're now at this side.
well, at least you've made a big step into the industry from that coffee place. What was it like to enter that not really knowing much about it? I mean, you kind of got the spiel of it, but I'm assuming, you know, this isn't really, people don't really talk what it's like to be in a management company that much. Like, what was the adjustment like?
So everybody was going through an adjustment because my first day on the job was March 8th of 2020.
Yeah, that's tough.
So
Is that
So
when
that's
everything
COVID.
shut down?
Yeah.
well,
basically.
COVID shut down everything March 12th. And to be fair, I did cry on my first day. It was a very like, oh my God, it's like the big leagues. I felt like it was a pilot episode of something. It was like HBO drama going live.
How did you even get there? So how did you even get this job after all this time? Like you've had so much lead up. I would love to know like what finally got you through.
So I was at a bar 2 doors down from Blue Bottle. Shout out, Honor Bar.
That's the third shout out.
All right.
We're cooking over here.
And I routinely go there. A lot of the bartenders would know me because I would give them free coffee. Not in exchange for anything at all, Honor Bar. It was all colloquial. But I was sitting next to someone who like was kind of upset that I was sitting in their seat. But like that seat was safe for me. And I was like already having a bad day. So I was like, this can't be like, we both can't be having a bad day. So I like did everything in my power to like turn on the charm and stuff. And by the end of it, she was like, you have to meet our daughter. You have to meet our daughter. And their daughter worked at the management company at the time. And she was like, yeah, we're always looking for new people to start in the mailroom. Actually, right now would be a really great time if you ever want to talk or whatever. And so she came into Blue Bottle the next day, and I stole the flowers from the back and repurposed them, and then gave her flowers as a gift for like agreeing to talk to me.
Okay.
Take notes.
All right.
It lined up because our flower girl came that day, so she replaced them, and I got like free flowers. And I was like, "Don't throw those away. I need those right now."
Wow.
And so she put in my resume. She actually like told me like what I needed to change on my resume to like before submitting it, which was very helpful because I feel like that's something that nobody tells you is like, you know, what like the true format is for like entertainment or like what's helpful, especially when you have like nothing to put on there, but like, you know, an online internship that I'm pretty sure was a scam and 2 coffee shop jobs.
Wait, really quick, just asterisk question.
Yeah.
What did you major in college that you like? Yeah, what did you major in college? I'm just curious.
I majored in business.
Oh, so you're future planning even then.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, let me just jump right. I feel like in college, they like definitely, I don't know about you and your program, but my program definitely spoon fed us like how to do resume stuff.
We had
Right off the
a
bat.
class on resumes, actually.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So that girl really did it. You was solid. That girl was.
Shout out Diet Coke if you heard that crap.
Yeah. Again, if you coffee and Diet Coke run our
Nothing to
industry.
get your podcast started, like a fresh, sparkling.
Before the shout out company.
What we're talking about, I'm so distracted now.
This girl that was helping you with your resume.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so she submitted it. I went in for the interview, and you know, are we allowed to talk about how like
Anything you
racism
want.
and stuff and
Whatever
like
you
stuff
want.
affect? So it was very clear that I got the job because I was Black, but I was not upset about it. And like it was just one of those things of like they're like, yeah, we're really looking to diversify our mailroom, and I was like, okay,
But that's a real thing.
I'm here.
That is a real thing, though.
And which is why I was
I
like,
definitely
I'm
got
grateful.
hired because I was also a person of color, like
Yeah.
at that company. I mean,
why would you not take that? Why'd you be like, oh, actually?
yeah, exactly. Especially if it's like the first, I guess, anyway, to get through the door in a way.
Yeah, yeah, and it was good. But she was just like, wow, you went to college, and I was like. Don't you have people who went to like Harvard and UPenn here? Like, and it's not just okay. She asked me nothing about like my previous experience. She just told me a story, and we just sat there and chatted about her paintings and
Stuff. Also, okay, so the same HR lady interviewed me and Damon. Like, that's so funny. You say that because all she did
Did I
during
talk to her too? Because I applied.
No,
to this position.
that's okay.
Oh, we're all good.
Yeah, no, you're good. I think you're doing quite well. I feel like you don't want to talk to her. She
Oh,
just talked to me
gotcha.
about her vacation for like 10 minutes. Actually, I was on the set of 911 when I took this call.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's so funny because I feel like all the interviews probably from that era of hiring were very similar.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
it was very like I'm overdressed. I'm like, you know, and it was like a very lo-fi, high-low type of situation. But it all worked out for the best. And I was also, funnily enough, like I was interviewing at other places as well, like other agencies, due to somebody else that I met at Blue Bottle. Like I like interrupted him and like got him right before he left, and I was like suited up, and I was like, I really love what you said in this article about something. I think it had to do with licensing and stuff like I don't know. But I was like, I really love what you said, and I would love to like interview at one of your companies because there's an agency that opened up a studio, and you know, and he got me an interview at both that same week, and I had like the management company that I was at smudged in between there, and I was like, do I go for being like an agent guy, or do I go to like being a manager guy? And I was like, well, I know I want to be a manager, but I was like, so many people start off as agents and then go to a management company. That's what I should do, right? But then I was like, why not just bypass the step and go to where I want to go anyway? Little did I know, I didn't know shit at that time, so it didn't matter where I went. I was gonna learn something.
Okay, so now you're at the management company. We meet.
Hey,
You're on.
I mean, it was like a year and a half until we met. Like
That's true. Damon and our other friend Addison, who was in the mailroom with Damon.
shout out Addie.
Yes. You guys really went through it in the mailroom because of COVID.
Yes. So March 8th, I start. There's 6 people in the mailroom. By that summer, it was just me and Addie. So from 6 to 2. And the workload never really kind of lightened. It made like we just took on their work and kept smiling and crying in the background. And we were also in the office because like a lot of the way that like a lot of payments work for like commissions is like the checks are sent via mail, which I don't know why we haven't learned how to like wire money over yet.
We started. It's like I feel like towards my end time there, they started to, but they hated it.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't understand. They like hated. I just remember tracking this money, being like, what, like wire numbers, and then people being mad that because it's not like delivering on time. Like it's all digital. I don't understand.
That's weird.
But also, like, checks make no sense, too, because mail gets lost so often.
Yes. The amount of times we've had to like physically go run and pick up a check. And I'm just like, also when people mail a check that's like in Los Angeles, it's like 3 blocks down from your office and they like mail it. It's like, you could have just brought this over. But again, somebody has to collect those checks to keep the money inflowing into the company. So as mailroom, it was us and accounting. The rest of like the 60 or so like company got to work from home, but us every day in office.
Is that why it was tough during COVID because you guys were the only ones that were there? Or?
I mean,
they made you do a lot.
Yes, but oddly enough, I wouldn't have traded it for anything because in that time, I feel like in these like starting environments, you're like kids fighting for like parents who like don't care because like you're competing for like attention from every like.
It's so weird. You're right. It has a weird parental thing to it.
Yeah, and like everybody like, you know, like your mailroom class is all like, I've tried not to like feed into that, but like a lot of times like you end up just like, I gotta get on a desk first, or like who got here first versus like who's getting on a desk first versus like what desk are they getting, and it's like, is it what they wanted? And so there ends up being like a little bit of like quasi politics that are played, and people feel like you get stabbed in the back or whatever. And so it like, I didn't have to deal with any of that because it was just me and Addie. And we weren't getting promoted. They weren't promoting anybody because it was COVID. So we knew that like for the near term future, we weren't competition to each other, although we like made little games to get by. But we knew that like we were safe because after cutting, more than half of the mailroom were still here. After cutting, more than half of the assistants were still here throughout like the COVID times, and they needed us. And we did kind of carry the company on our backs in a way. But what that like lack of quantity of like mailroom people, or like just people in general, all the managers interact with you directly. So for a company that like had 60 people, I knew everybody by like the end of the year so well. The only person that they were able to talk to and see was me. They couldn't see anybody else. They didn't have those passing conversations that you might in an office. It was just, hey, I'm here to pick up my stuff. Hey, I'm here to pick up my check. Oh, I'm the only one here. Hello, how are you? I haven't interacted with anyone in days and weeks because we're not allowed to.
Wow. But you really took it. I feel like the more of the story, the more I hear about your story, it's like you just make it like lemon into lemonades. I feel like each situation, you just
Add
like
some sugar, baby.
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
That's very sultry.
Yeah. Okay, so you make it through this management. You are at this time thinking that you want to be a manager. What made you, because knowing now what desk you were on at the time, it's the only desk at this company that's like this. Every other desk is like a combination. It was more like what I was doing, more like TV, film, and like either lit or talent. Like Damon's only desk is the only one that like was doing anything like brand sponsorships or like unscripted and like working with people outside of that world a little bit. Granted, you did have clients on the list that were also actors as well, and you know, things like that. But what, I guess at what point did you realize like this is the path? Because I feel like this is kind of what led you eventually down to trucking along your business development route.
And just for reference, the being at a desk means there's like, that's that manager and you're just assigned to as assistant to that person. You don't leave, you're that person's assistant. You work in that desk, right?
Yeah. So basically, each manager or like agent get assigned an assistant or two. Sometimes you have two, but you just also call it on desk, being on desk. Yeah.
What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I just was like curious. Okay, so now that you want to be a manager again, it's the only desk. Also, it's like, what are the chances that you're going to get this desk? You know what I mean? At the time of like this lottery of being promoted, right, at this kind of company, especially in a time where it was so squeezed in terms of like a promotion or hiring.
I didn't want this desk, actually. I wanted to be on a literary desk. I thought I wanted to like make the next Game of Thrones type thing. I thought like I was gonna make this new like fantasy world building. I want to like read books and find the best IP. Like that's what I thought at first. Also because at the time actors couldn't work, so writing seemed like it was like the space to be for job security. You know, that's the first thing I typed in. I was like, I want to be secure. I don't want to have to lose my job. And so I was like, oh, writers can work when actors can't. That's interesting. And Addison and I actually wanted to be on the same desk. And we were like, then like a little bit of a competition came and we were like vying for that manager's desk. But the manager I ended up working for kept coming in, and it was all I would hear from like her or HR at the time was, oh, she needs so much help. She's doing so much. Like she doesn't have anybody who's like really there for her. Because at the time, managers were sharing assistants. They were like on double desks because we COVID. And it was an opportunity for me at the time. I was like, okay, well, if she needs help and this is what she's doing and it's like digital or whatever, before I even understood like the full like caliber of what she was doing. I was like, let me just like start making lists. Like all you hear throughout like the company is like, oh yes, this actor, like a list of projects or a list of scripts and these different genres. I was like, okay, let me make my own list for her. And I started like Googling who are the top, like TikTok had just came out and I was like, who are the top people on TikTok right now that like I can get this manager to like look at and sign, and what can they do? They could have their own HGTV show because that's like the peak of like television, right? Um, and it was really amazing how this manager kind of took me under her wing and like said, this is great. This isn't exactly what I need. This is how you can like format this better. And through that, she started giving me like just little tasks here and there that I could help her out with. And we grew that relationship. And when it was time for her to be able to get promoted, time for people to have like their own assistants again, it was only natural that like I would go to her desk because I'd been helping her out for about 6 months, just like doing things left and right. And why train somebody to do the job when I kind of already have an understanding of what's going on? Little did I know there was so much more going on. And through doing the work, I found that I loved it. And I found that like you better than anyone know how long it can take to make a TV show, like, or a film or anything like that. Like that takes years to like develop fully from start to end. And with this, it was like a deal comes in and it's done in a day. And I love that. I was like the quick turnaround, the way we could be working on different things like all in the same week, the way I can see the fruits of my labor super quick, like that instant gratification. It was like lovely the way that like these deals were moving left and right. A lot of what this manager did was endorsements and licensing, commercialization for like the clients that she was on. She was really an unscripted manager, and I feel like that's all the company sees her as, but she's so much more because she's handling all of that, like comedy, touring, like events, experiences, building all of that. And when you're doing that for clients, any manager who's doing this type of work for clients, I feel like you are technically in a version of business development because you are trying, like, your clients have businesses. They have prodcos. They have, like, some have, like, their own little quasi studios, I imagine. Like you're doing so much that you are developing a business. You are growing and guiding and strategizing with them. At least a good manager should be. You shouldn't, I don't believe in letting people sit on the shelf. I think that managers who have like too many clients and don't focus enough attention across all of them aren't, I think they're doing a disservice to like what we could really be as representatives. And for me, it's always about like, you know, how do we get from point A to point B? How do we get through whatever you're working on? And that's like, I feel like any manager, for whether you're managing an actor, a director, a producer, a musician, an athlete, you are supposed to be managing them as a business and guiding them to like success. So you should be business developing. And it's very wild to me that like a lot of other companies don't like focus on that and leave it to like managers individually, like to themselves. They end up working in silos and strategizing by themselves. They don't always have teams that are like working together for like a common good. And I think that's, you know, I think that's just one aspect that's been left out that I've been able to come in and I hope to fill.
Nice.
So I guess, okay, so now you're at this management company, you've worked on this desk. Now you're like feeling it's time to go. How do you, okay, so now that you're like, this is like also again, the sole desk at this company that's like this, what do you resolve within yourself to be like, I gotta leave? Because I feel like if this is kind of fitting the bill of what I guess your ultimate career, or did you still not at that point think that this is the path that you wanted to go down? Maybe we start there.
I think at the time, I realized that the structure at the company that I was at was not supportive of what I wanted to do. I didn't think that there was much more for me that I could learn from what I wanted to learn. I thought like even seeing like my manager go through the struggles that like we never like specifically talked about, but I could see that she had so much more that she actually wanted to do. But like you, to do those things, you need the support of like upper management. You need the support of the people who make the decisions for the company. And when you only have one person doing it, I don't want to say anything is impossible, but it is exponentially harder to do it without support. I don't think we can do anything well without support. And I mean, you have teams that make it's not just like the actor and the director that make a movie, it's everybody coming together. And I feel like on the corporate side, that doesn't happen as often. And when it doesn't happen, you have gaps like this where it's like, where is the development? Where is the career development for someone in this capacity who wants to do that? How do we take, like, where do we go from there? Because my manager was very supportive. She was the type of person where she would type out on Slack like the questions that needed to be asked to a brand and say, I'm leading the call, and like walk me through every single step. So that way I got experience like navigating these types of like things, like navigating a brand deal from top to bottom. What do we look for in a contract? Like, what is exclusivity? Why is it important? And how can we like narrow that stuff down? Like, she was the one to be very specific on all of those things. So I didn't have to guess what I was doing. She was very willing to like guide me and teach me. It wasn't easy, but anything that came up, she would give me the opportunity to learn. She would always say, I can do this 20 times faster myself. I'm giving this to you for the experience. And sometimes the directness caught me off guard, but as an Aries, I was like, I appreciate this. Let's go. Let's go.
So is that normal to have such a mentorship relationship with the person you're doing a desk with, or did you get lucky?
Sam?
Well, I think honestly, it's just per person. It's per person, really. I think it's, if you have a company full of great people, which I feel like, you know, the company that we worked at, like I have to say the people that I worked for as well were very big on mentoring. I think like the day to day, I think I've talked about this too on like my episode. Like I'm very grateful for the bosses that I had there. I just think what your major gripe about all of this, what makes it so much harder, and what I think is like the reoccurring issue for most people at like these kind of jobs, even my current job, it's like the upper management. It's like, are they listening to you? Like they may be good at their day-to-day jobs, which is at this company being a manager, but like were they fit to run a business? Or like, do we necessarily agree as people that have to work for them every day that they treat us with like a level of respect that should be passable? Like, no. But I think in terms of like what you're talking about, like the mentorship, there is like mentorship, I think, across the board if you want to find it.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of like, also, I think another thing that adds to that is the fact that like not all people are made to work with the same, like that person.
Yeah.
I think at the company that we were at, like you definitely hit the lottery with your boss in terms of like being able to guide you like that. I think like my boss did as much as she can, but she realized that I didn't want to be a rep. So then it's like at a certain point, how far do you go with that, with like the skill set that she knows? And I understand that. I think if I did want to be rep, she would have taken me the whole, like all the way to the end as well. But, so at the core of it though, like, but some people are just not meant to be. So you're never going to, if you aren't, or if you're going to clash,
It's
like
a full relationship. You're like dating.
yeah,
in a way.
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like my therapist literally was like, you're in a relationship. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, I just text her every single day of every hour of the day about literally everything that she needs to do. What are you talking about? This is not a relationship.
We don't get upset when we don't get each other on the phone.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. She doesn't want to talk about reality TV with me right now. Okay.
Toxic relationship.
Yeah. But, you know, so I feel like it's partial. It's like half. I think it's like half. It's like you can either get struck gold and you just naturally fit, or it takes a lot of work. And sometimes and we've met several people even over our time at that company where it did not work out because they just could not connect at all. So, and that becomes awful, and it becomes like an even worse situation in the long run. So I don't know. It's like, it's a mixed bag, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the politics, especially starting in the mailroom and people like trying to backstab each other. Do you think that there's just no space for that kind of competition in these environments? Or do you think that's kind of necessary to kind of get the best people or the right people with the right people?
I think there needs to be understood guidelines or like guide rails for like what's going on, like whether that's like, you know, whether it is like a for sure like first in for like first up type of thing where you know that nobody's going to get promoted like before you if you've been there the longest or whatever, to at least like being on a desk.
Yeah.
Like I feel like competition is very important. I feel like I perform my best when I'm competitive with somebody, even if it's myself. I try to compete with myself all the time. Can I do this faster? Can I do this better? Can I do this perfect? I mean, I started baking and I wanted to make croissants, not fucking cake. Like,
Oh, Damon used to bring in these fresh baguettes that I used to sit right
Another
next to
strategic move.
yeah. And I used to, at the time, sit right next to the kitchen. And I was literally the closest desk. By the time I got up, Damon would like announce it and it's gone. I think I've had a total of like, he brought in maybe like 3 or 4 baguettes over our time. I think I've had one piece the entire time. It's Damon's dedication is unmatched.
I do try.
Love it.
And so, yeah, I think competition is very important for
Yeah.
pushing oneself, but that's not always a environment where someone thrives. And I do think that there needs to be some level of guidance and mentorship and support and help, because not everybody has the same, like,
Drive.
Yeah.
Almost. Ambition.
not even drive. Some people work really hard but are quiet.
That's true. Yeah.
Some people do things in different ways. And I don't think that, like, you know, judging a fish by its ability to climb a tree is like the best thing that we should be doing when people are just trying to start their careers, especially in a place that's already been gate kept for like the dawn of its inception. And when something is gate kept like that, it's like some people do need more support. Some people need to understand the dynamics. Some people don't understand the politics of what you're getting into when you get into the industry. I was grateful enough that like I did understand that through conversations at coffee shops with those assistants or through just general research of what I was getting myself into. And we have, you know, media like, what's that show? Not, is it Ballers or Entourage? Like Entourage. And then like kind of show you what you're kind of getting into, however dramatized it is. I think it's important to have both, because if you're not like, I would never want to be complacent. Complacency is like my number one fear in life, like staying still and stagnant. And while I understand that, like, you know, not everything's going to be like going up, like the stock market doesn't always keep going up, like your finances aren't always going to be exactly where you want it, your life isn't always going to be exactly where you want it, I want to keep moving forward, and doing whatever I can to keep trying to do better. It's okay if I lose the competition if I try.
Yeah.
It's okay to like, and that's one, like you said in the beginning, like all feedback is good feedback. I mean, like losing a competition, what does that show you? Like, where can you be better? Was this something that you were meant to do in the first place?
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody needs to work for a Miranda Priestley. Like some people can go and do other things and define their own happiness by like whatever that metric is. And I feel like some level of competition to like let you know what it is that you're good at or what it is you like thrive in is always healthy. But like there has to be a balance there.
I think also the company has to like establish that as well. And this company was not great at doing that.
Yeah. So you switched companies now.
Yes, after leaving the first management company, I did do a quick stint at an experiential marketing agency that was based in New York, and I got through there because the former manager did experiences, and so it was like a really great segue into learning that world, and I really wanted to like know it completely. Like it was my new hobby at the time, low key. I was just like, I just want to learn this. Like, what is this? What are we building?
Experiences are like event planning in a way, or like how would you define like what does curating an experience mean?
I feel like event planning is experiential. Like I feel like I like the way that like I feel like everything like I feel like event planning is one thing, but like building an experience is just like that times 20, like elevated. And that's just the way that I like to think about it, because other people will go about it in different ways. Some people will be like, yeah, we're just event marketers or event planners or whatnot. And you can think of it that way, but I like to take in everything. Like, how are you feeling when you walk in? How are you feeling when you leave? How are you feeling 2 weeks from then? Like, it should be an experience. Everything that you do in life should be an experience. Like, you are like walking through this earth, like you should feel good. You should want like that like euphoria that comes with like living life and being in the moment and being so enthralled in what you're doing. Like when you're at the zoo or the aquarium and you just see a big whale just like swim by and you're like, oh my God. Like, you should have those oh my God feelings as many times as you can in your life. And I feel like an experience is putting you through as many oh my God feelings as you can and walking away and thinking about that forever. And that's what I want to build. I want to build experiences. I want my relationships to be experiences. I want everything to be an experience.
The best experience.
Oh.
All right.
So you're at this company.
Yeah.
And then what is the final leap? What is the Frogger leap over?
To that company or back to another management company?
Back to the management, I guess, company.
So right now you are at a management company that you went to after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
After I got laid off.
Oof.
Yeah.
No shout out for that
big
company.
L.
No shit to the company?
None. No, I mean, at the end of the day, it was for the best because I made more money and I felt like I was like at a big boy job because of different things, but I wasn't really doing everything that I wanted to do. And I think I even told you, Sam, I was like, I feel like I'm kind of stuck here. And I kind of saw it as like my year off from the industry where I was like, let me just go do this for a minute, build my finances, be happy.
Yeah. Take a year to be happy and then back to work.
And it was exactly that. It was exactly a year, and I got back in, and through connections that had already made from being in the industry for those like 2.5 years, and it really came out of the blue because I didn't interview for a business development desk. I interviewed for a digital desk because I was like, I need another job. What can I do? Digital. Go back here. Let's do this. I knew I could do digital. And I went in for the interview thinking, okay, great. I need another job. This company is respected, fresh, new, younger, and the talent that they represent is like top tier. I was like, it's not a bad move. Like, because I think getting back into it, I was very scared of like, I didn't want to be at a place where I would have to stop being happy. I was very cognizant of like how much I had changed being out of the industry from a place that was overworking me in a way that I didn't wish to be overworked, and not pushing me forward in any way. It was just work. And especially once you've hit that wall, I was very cognizant of that going back into this being like, I want to keep as much as myself when I make this job switch as possible. I want to be as much me as I can here. So when this management company like reached out, it was honestly really great. Got it through like networking and stuff. But I didn't get the job that I interviewed for. And that was a blow to my confidence. Not going to lie. I was pissed off for a good week and a half. Just upset that like I've been living off savings. I've been like, trying to like make everything work and I don't have a job and it's not like I don't have like daddy's money to pay for things. So I'm like, LA is expensive. How are you going to do this? But luckily they called back because the interview didn't go bad. And I got referred to another person's desk who I'm on now. And she's in business development and like strategy, innovation, and literally the smartest person that I've ever met in my life. And it's kind of intimidating being in the room with her sometimes because the way her like brain connects dots, like before you've even finished the sentence, she's already got everything figured out and planned and you're like 20 days behind. And I'm like, what the fuck did you just do? Like, how did that happen? And when I heard about it, at first, it was like also sold to me as like a Web3 desk. And as much as like I'm not like, a Web3 like
what is
crypto
Web3?
guy.
Oh, okay, crypto.
Well,
Web 3.0.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just another iteration of the internet. It's more decentralized. And I used to be able to explain this so well.
No,
But
it doesn't
yeah.
matter. I was just curious. I just didn't
It's
know
like
what it
a
was.
new generation of things that you can do
Yeah.
with the internet, what the internet represents, right?
Like
Something
4G
like
went
that.
to 5G. We
Oh,
went
okay,
from
got
one
it,
to-
got it.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. But I was like, I don't know anything about this. So like, again, always wanting to learn,
Yeah.
get better, learn more stuff. And then the other side of that was business development. And I was like, okay, I want to focus on that. But they were like, this is a very Web3 heavy desk. And I was like, fuck. Okay, let's do it. I need a job. But it actually ended up being one of the best things because I got to see so much of a world that a world that really aligned with what I wanted. I wanted to work with different types of people. I didn't want to work for like the same brand or the same talent over and over. I wanted to do different things. And in this side of the industry, it's like, okay, well, you're talking to people in tech, you're talking to people at VC firms, you're talking to people who are traditionally brands and talent. You're working with so many different types of people that it's a new thing every day. And that I find so exciting to not know what I'm getting into in a day.
I get that.
It's so sexy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, it sounds like you're in the right place, and this woman, your boss, sounds honestly like you, or at least what you're going to be very soon, I'm sure, which is just connecting crazy dots and strategizing all the time. I bet you have like the next 100 years planned out, but next 10 years, what's the big step?
I don't have anything planned out at this point. I think I have things that I'd like to do. I'd like to start some companies for like clients or myself. I'd like to like have a few clients that like trust me for like projects that they're working on. I'd like to feel like I've completed some things on my own, like some specific deals. But I feel like in 10 years, the one thing I want to just be is confident in my ability to make shit happen. I want to know that I can pick up the phone, call somebody, and that getting something done is like as easy as what's easy?
Picking up the phone.
Yeah, as easy as picking up the phone. I mean, I've always said that I wanted to be the Olivia Pope of Hollywood. Like, I just wanted like you to call me and be like, I need this done, and I say it's handled with a Prada bag and a pea coat.
Nice. All right. Time. Looking at this podcast like a time capsule.
Yeah.
We're going to send you this message to yourself in 10 years.
Whatever you've created is more than enough, but you can always do more. So don't stop.
Never complacent.
Competitive through and through.
Competitive through and through.
Even with your own self 10 years.
Do better. You're doing great, but do better.
Decade older, Damon.
I love it.
I wonder how I'll feel about that in 10 years.
Well, I think I'm very inspired by some of the things you say. I love that thing about being complacent. I feel that way too. And also that what you said about experiences and how we should kind of always be chasing or trying to find that aha, like whoa moment in everything we do. Do you have anything else any sort of advice for people that are trying to kind of do what you're doing? Maybe coming out of college?
I mean, you can never know enough people. Always reach out, say yes, take the drinks, take the lunch. If you can, like, pay for it, if you can. I mean, it's always hard, like, bringing in money into these situations, but do whatever you can to get in front of as many people as you can. And if you're not an extrovert, go one person at a time. Like, if groups aren't your thing, single coffees, single conversations, always just pick up the phone and keep trying. You're never going to be looked at as bad for giving something a shot. You're going to be looked down for not trying, for not putting effort in. But if you've given something everything that you can, nobody's going to fault you for it. So keep trying, keep meeting people, and don't take no for an answer.
Love it.
Boom. There it is.
I know, mic drop, really.
Mic
Yeah.
adjust.
Yeah, actually, mic adjust, tilt up.
Pop another a Diet Coke on that one.
Again, shout out Coca-Cola Company. Oh, what do you got there?
Oh no, the batteries ran out.
Oh my God. Where's that been hiding?
We've had it every podcast, but we've never actually used
there?
it.
I'm the first person to gain an applause.
I guess.
The first, actually, we've used the fart noise before, I think. Oh yeah, no, we have that one. I also have little buttons on this mixer that do things. I don't know what they do.
Even louder.
Even better.
Oh my gosh, Damon.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm a guest star on a TV show and everybody just went, ooh.
Yeah, that was great advice.
Check this one out. I don't know what it is. Oh.
Okay, let's see. The other one.
We're going to put you on soundboard.
Oh my God, okay. I love this. This was an Indie Not Films production, edited by Hayden Garrett, music by Harrison Garrett. Do you have any feedback, any questions, topics you want us to cover? Email us at indienotfilms@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to help us out, please rate and review from wherever you're listening.